Welcome to Module 15 of Suicide and Crisis Intervention Models. Today, we'll explore the critical legal and ethical issues involved in mental health crisis intervention. These considerations are crucial for ensuring that we provide effective and responsible care while navigating the complex situations that often arise during crises. Working in crisis intervention presents unique ethical dilemmas. While ethical guidelines provide a framework, they don't always address the specific challenges we face in crisis situations. As a result, as crisis workers, we must rely on reflection, consultation, and our best professional judgment to make informed decisions that respect the nuances of each situation. Ethical decision making in crisis intervention can be misunderstood. It's not always about finding the one right answer, but rather about using practical decision making models and taking the time to consult with supervisors and colleagues that cannot be overstated enough. The primary role of the mental health professional is to ensure safety, provide calm, and foster hope and connectedness to those we help. Our work is deeply influenced by our own beliefs, emotions, and values. Understanding why we choose to work in crisis intervention and being aware of our personal biases and backgrounds is essential. Reflection and supervision help us navigate the non rational factors that affect our ethical decision making, such as context, relationships, and emotions. Laws are mandatory, whereas legal codes are aspirational, identifying the ideals toward which we must strive. Sometimes legal requirements and ethical considerations can conflict, and there might not be a single right answer. In such cases, as before, consulting both a clinical supervisor and an attorney and choosing the least harmful option may be your best approach. Always consider the broader impact on the community as well as the individual. Confidentiality involves the legal duty to protect a client's private communications, while privacy is the client's right to control what they share and when they share it. Privileged communication legally prevents the disclosure of confidential information, although this can be limited in certain circumstances where there is a duty to protect the client or others from harm. The duty to warn is a legal obligation that varies by state. The landmark Karasov case established that mental health professionals in California must warn potential victims if there's a reasonable prediction of danger. It's important for you to understand that in some states, like California, where the Tarasov ruling was initiated, it is a mandatory duty to warn state, while other states are permissive reporting states, which do not legally obligate providers to warn others of risk. You must know the state in which you're practicing. When working with clients, it's important to communicate the limits of confidentiality that are relevant in your state, especially with minors, and to document all actions when a threat is identified. Negligence occurs when a professional fails to perform their duties, resulting in harm to the client. This can result in things like, or it can include things like practicing outside of one's scope, incompetence, failing to use the most beneficial techniques. Understanding and adhering to the professional standard of practice is essential to avoid liability. Supervisors can be held vicariously liable for the actions of their supervisees. The extent of this liability depends on factors such as the employment relationship between the supervisor and the supervisee and the level of authority the supervisor holds. Regular supervision and clear communication are key to mitigating these risks. You should have no secrets between yourself and your client that you do not share with your clinical supervisor, because until you are independently licensed, you're operating under your clinical supervisor's license. So you must never promise a client to keep a secret from your clinical supervisor. Ethical decision making in crisis intervention is guided by several moral principles: autonomy, which is respecting clients' right to self-determination, beneficence, working for the client's good, fidelity, keeping promises, justice, ensuring fairness, and non-malfeasance, avoiding harm. These principles help us navigate complex ethical dilemmas. Ethical decision making models are beneficial because they provide a structured approach to considering legal and ethical aspects of a situation. However, in crisis situations, time is often limited and cultural aspects can be overlooked. Effective decision making requires discernment and the ability to navigate personal biases and contextual factors. To be effective in crisis intervention, we must engage in reflective practice, constantly thinking about our role, interventions, and ways to improve our skills. Self care is vital to maintain our self worth and ensure that we're prepared to support others during crises. Recognizing our own dignity and self worth helps us provide the best care possible. Legal and ethical issues are integral to mental health crisis intervention. By understanding and applying ethical principles, laws, reflective practices, and clinical supervision, we can navigate the complexities of our work and provide responsible, effective support to those in crisis.